Hi, this is RX-Explain. This time I'm going to explain the Gundam Mk-II. Gundam Mk-II, model number RX-178, is the flagship prototype mobile suit developed by the Titans in order to claim the RX-78's legacy, as the Titans moved itself to the supreme position of the Earth Federation force. By UC-0086, the Titans and their allies in the Federation government had grown ever more abusive and began to march into stratocracy. In response, corporations, Spatians, many former Zeon supporters, and those who believed in some basic democracy formed an alliance known as AEUG, the Anti-Earth Government Union Group. However, before the Titans can reveal the Gundam Mk-II to all of Earth's circle and proclaim their supremacy, AEUG managed to stall all three Gundam testing in Green Nor right under the Titans' nose, and they repainted Gundam Mk-II from the Titans' dark blue into the familiar Gundam white, and so the RX-78's legacy had fallen into the AEUG's hand. Gundam Mk-II does not only succeed RX-78 by its look, but also its creation. It was developed with the most loyal Federation engineers and mechanics from Federation-developed parts. Never mind Project V had studied and learned from Zeon Saku. Let's take a closer look and see how Gundam Mk-II succeeds RX-78's lineage starting from the head. Immediately you can see the very RX-78-like V-shaped antenna, twin eyes, and face mask and red chin. But you will also immediately notice the headset around Gundam Mk-II's head. That is the Vulcan module, further developed from those used on the Gundam ground types. We will talk about those in detail in the weapons section. With the Vulcans moved out of Gundam Mk-II's head, there is more room inside for the cooling system, communication devices, and file control computers. This provides Gundam Mk-II better targeting acquisition and communication capabilities than most mobile suits at the time, while maintaining the RX-78's visage. Gundam Mk-II has vents on both sides of the chest like RX-78, and thickened armor cockpit like the RX-79G. Gundam Mk-II does not utilize the core fighter system, rather it uses the late war RX-78's full dome cockpit design to allow more internal volume for bigger main reactors and heat exchange system. The full dome cockpit has a linear seat installed like late war RX-78, providing a well-proven G-force countering solution. There is no clear indication that Gundam Mk-II has an optical computer with learning AI on board, but given its development history and performance, it would seem to be the case. Do note the extra optical sensors installed on either side of the chest. Those are the result of the Federation phasing out traditional military vehicles for support and fighting against infantry in confined spaces like space colonies. Gundam Mk-II's skirts are in more complex shapes than those on RX-78 or RX-79G. This is the result of Gundam Mk-II's greater physical flexibilities, so the skirts need to provide more room for the legs. As you would expect directly from the RX-78 lineage, there are RPG motors like those on the later variants and multifunctioning docking stations on the side, allowing Gundam Mk-II to carry magazines or charge its own beam weapons. Gundam Mk-II's legs are, like other parts we have seen, a mix of RX-78 and RX-79G designs. The more angular armor designs and pronounced knee pads clearly coming from the ground types, and the larger thrusters on the side of the calves like the late war RX-78s. The thrusters on the side are thermonuclear jets, allowing Gundam Mk-II to hover along the ground, giving it high mobility and operation range on anti-celestial bodies. In fact, with advancement in nuclear thermojet technology, Gundam Mk-II doesn't even need thrusters on its feet. That's why they are very much directly developed from Gundam ground types ones, for maximum terrain interaction capabilities. Gundam Mk-II's arms have apogee motors on the shoulders like the late war RX-78s, and forearms have elbow guard like the ground types. The armor plates designs are more complex, with more angles to increase effective armor without actually thickening them, saving extra weight. Gundam Mk-II's backpack is very much developed directly from the ground types, possibly a continuation of the Federation Army's plan to produce space-use RX-79s. The vector thrusters on top supposed to be movable from their base, but this is a G-frame and they are fixed. Similarly fixed are the beam sabers in the front. A little reminder that Gundam Mk-II is meant to be the successor of RX-78. Gundam Mk-II's greatest innovation, however, is internal. Unlike the RX-78 with the core fighter where it needs to be separate before being taken apart, or RX-79G with a chassis where you need to take away overlapping layers to release anything for extensive repair, Gundam Mk-II have a complete skeleton. This complete skeleton is called the movable frame, because the power and transmission system are also mounted directly on these skeletons, and it can move around without external layers like older mobile suit designs. The movable frame is inspired by Anaheim's Gundam project, which uses a complete skeleton to develop multiple mobile suits, and combine it with the cancelled RX-80 project, with the base model G-liner being a very basic mobile suit with minimum armor and functionality, then adds extra armor modules for different missions requirements. With the movable frame, the Gundam Mk-II development team not only can make external modules for different mission requirements, but complete armor modules that can make better use of internal spaces and with direct access to the main reactor and heat exchange systems, saving weight and efficiency. On top of that, they can still create extra external modules to expand Gundam Mk-II's functionality. That is why for the prototypes, they have armor modules combining elements of RX-78 and RX-79G, as those are well-proven designs for the Federation in all theaters. Also to make sure everyone knows this is a Gundam. The armor modules themselves have some internal innovation as well, with the movable frame having physically independence of the armor. It means Gundam Mk-II not only can move in human-like manner, but with inhuman flexibilities. This means the armor pieces not only have to be designed in a way where they wouldn't smack into each other, like we see on the lower legs, but also needed to move past each other smoothly. They call these armor modules innovation sliding armor, as the armor pieces would have built-in guides to turn each other away for maximum coverage as well as flexibility. Sadly, while this G-frame is spot on with the movable frame, it does not have any representation of sliding armor like the knee pads and elbow pads. Given the prototypes are only prototypes, the Gundam Mk-II development team only uses titanium ceramic composite to build armor plates for them. not only because titanium ceramic composite plates are cheaper and easier to work with, the team also wanted to create an armored solution for Gundam Mk-II's eventual mass production, in order to retain as much performance as they could. So while Gundam Mk-II is not as tough as it could have been, it is still better armored than most of its RX-78 and RX-79 predecessors, with its complex angle armor design. Gundam Mk-II is given a set of very conventional Federation-style mobile suit weapons, partly for the looks but mostly for logistics, as the development team want to replicate the success of Project V, where the RX-78 weaponry was standardized and given to other mobile suits whenever possible, giving them similar offensive capabilities. The set includes Vulcan headset, a pair of beam sabers, a beam rifle, a hyper bazooka, and a shield. The beam sabers are designed to be more powerful than existing standard modules, and the squared design is supposed to improve handling for maintenance and the mobile suit itself. They also features a mechanical switch on the side, allowing Gundam Mk-II to activate even without fully connected into the hand. Combining that with the improved physicality from movable frame, sliding armor, and magnetic coating, Gundam Mk-II remained to be one of the deadliest mobile suits in Melee until UC90s, where those three features were popularized. The beam rifle is similarly an all-round upgrade of the old Federation standard. However, a few features are added to make it a true successor. First is the outer casing, like the ground-type variants, added to increase the weapons and optics durability and reliability. Second is the standardized removable E-cap, a technology that has been experimented by various elements within the Federation but never standardized. Third are the physical controls around the weapons like the beam sabers, allowing Gundam Mk-II to operate the weapons even if the electronic connection malfunctions. Like the original Federation beam rifle, the front grip is adjustable and there's a connector near the back of the rifle to connect with the side skirts for Gundam Mk-II to carry and charge the weapon. In fact, Gundam Mk-II can charge the removable E-caps with those connectors as well, but this G-frame does not have any of these features. Gundam Mk-II's Hyper Bazooka also received some features from the ground-type predecessor, like optics and removable magazines, but again this G-frame cannot demonstrate these features. While Federation standard rounds should be HE, or prefer using hash and burst rounds, trying to disable and capture mobile suits they encounter. Not to mention many of their opponents are still fellow Federation soldiers, just following orders instead of challenging the Titans. Gundam Mk-II's shield is once again a max design. Similar to the GP-01's shield, this shield is retractable and has storage for weapon magazines. But again, this G-frame cannot demonstrate these features. However, since most Federation forces choose to stick with the heavy-duty but durable coffin shield, the Gundam Mk-II team made a heavy-duty like those, although the overall size is reduced to make it more maneuverable and practical as a blunt impact weapon. The Vulcan headset, like we have mentioned, is further developed from the Vulcan modules on the ground types. Unlike the ground types, however, this headset also features its own optic, fire control system, and communication system. This is done once again for the eventual wire adaptation of the system, allowing it to be mounted on more economical mobile suits while maintaining most of its functions. Like the other weapons, the Vulcan headset also features controls for the mobile suit's hands, allowing Gundam Mk-II to reload the magazine for itself. But Gundam Mk-II don't really have to worry about that, because the Gun magazine and VAR controls communication system are all inside the module on the right. The module on the left is extra ammo storage, feeding the magazines with the chute around the back. Similarly, there are controls for Gundam Mk-II to reload the ammo storage and take down the entire headset if needed. However, Gundam Mk-II isn't perfect. By selecting only the most loyal engineers and mechanics of the Federation, Gundam Mk-II missed out on the latest material development in the private sector. With dramatic increase in performance thanks to the movable frame and the sliding armor, Gundam Mk-II's legs were found to be maintenance intensive with all the extra stress it needs to bear, even with the thought to be indestructible Gundam ground-type leg design. That does not stop AEUG from using Gundam Mk-II to great effect. While there are some setbacks after the initial capture, AEUG eventually took all 3 prototypes firmly in hand. 2 out of 3 were disassembled to be analyzed, studied, and saved as spare parts. 1 unit continued to fight in AEUG's most intensive battles throughout the Great War, and continued 2 years later to fight against Neo Zeon, surviving against all the odds. Gundam Mk-II's most important contribution, however, is its movable frame, allowing AEUG to break through critical technical difficulties to complete the Zeta Gundam and a whole family of mobile suits that would win the Great War and the First Neo Zeon War. But that is another story for another video. Thanks for watching.